Well, hi, I'm Laura, and welcome to the channel. Well, today we're going to talk about a subject that came from one of the members of our community. How do we leave a group that we've been in for a while, maybe a very long time, without causing drama and hurt feelings and potentially losing friendships with people we don't want to lose friendships with? But at the same time, it's time for us to go. It's time for us to move on. So let's talk about group dynamics first. I hope you'll take a moment and subscribe to the channel. We talk about the issues that affect regular women every day as we get older and as we try to juggle long-term friendships, making new friends, and all the good and the bad and the sometimes difficult that goes along with that. So you've been in a group for a while, maybe a year, maybe 2 or 3, maybe 5 or 10, maybe longer. And that group can look like anything. What I'll say for myself, I don't know about you, but I tend to be attracted to different kinds of groups as I go through different seasons of my life. Groups are very much like friendships, and I've heard many of your comments that friendships have a season and the season comes and the season changes. Well, the groups and the interests and the things that we get involved with along the way often are the same way. When we have little children, we're PTO moms, we volunteer at the school, we carpool, we sit and watch our kids in the bleachers. As we get older and our kids don't need us that much anymore, we have time to concentrate on the hobbies and the interests and the things that fill us up. And I'm going to preface my comments today by saying that for me, I've made the decision that I will not give up something I love because of a person I don't want to be around. I won't give up the group, but I will give up the person, and I'll share with you how I manage that. So let's say you're living in a retirement community, or you live in a neighborhood, you belong to a book club, you volunteer at a local community center, you're part of an organization, you're part of a social group, maybe you just play cards with a group, or lunch with a group, or brunch with a group. But along the way, we get involved with groups. Number one, we have the shared interest. We enjoy their company. We have the time and the energy, and it becomes kind of commonplace for us, part of our normal pattern. Now, I think you would agree with me that there is something easier about chaos than there is about leaving and going off and trying something new. So sometimes we stay in groups way too long because we just are afraid to change. And not only are we afraid to change, is we don't know where to go. So let me share 2 stories with you. One is a personal story, and one is a story from a gal who called me many months ago. So my personal story is that when I moved into my neighborhood 25, 26, 27, 28 years ago, I'm starting to fudge on time. It's going way too fast for me. I will share, my daughter turned 37 the other day, and I'm still dumbfounded that I have a 37-year-old daughter. I don't know how you feel when your grown adult children get a year older. I'm like, slow down, father time. So yes, I've been in my house since 97 or 98. So in the beginning, all the neighbors, all the women, we had little children, we were trying to get to know each other. Many of us had moved here from other areas. And so some of the moms got together and formed a bunco group. Okay, bunco is dice. If you haven't played it before, super simple game. And it was really about camaraderie. 12 of us played, so we had 3 tables of 4, and you rotate, so you get to talk to different people. And then at the end of the night, the winner, you have, you give away prizes that are, just little doodads. Well, I played bunco with the same group of women. Well, I played bunco for over a decade. I played with the same group of women for maybe 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. And that's where the story begins. Group dynamics change. One person leaves the group, they move away, they just have some other family commitment that comes up, they can't play anymore. So a new woman comes into the group. And I don't care what kind of group you are part of. If you get a new neighbor next door, it changes things. If you get a new couple of women that join a group, the group expands, that whole dynamic, who sits where, who's talking to who. And what I usually find happens when a group changes is that someone in the original group or one of the new people is picking another person to come in. So you may not even know that person, and you've found a comfort level in the original group. You walked in knowing that these were all new people, or most of them were new people, and you had it in your mind, I'm going to put the effort and the energy into getting to know these people. But over time, groups change. And I would say it's the same in business, it's the same in volunteer work, it's the same anywhere where we are committed to going back, right, to enjoying a certain group doing a specific thing. And I go back to what I said. I will continue to do what I love to do, but I choose to not do it around certain people if I don't enjoy being around them. So as time went by with our Bunko group, there were many women to this day, and now it's been 20 years. I haven't played Bunko in, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years. But there are women in that group who I still keep in touch with, who I think the world of. But there are women who were in that group when I left who I just really never got to know. Our paths never crossed. I wasn't in the right mindset to get to know new people. And when you go, we met monthly. So when you do something monthly or every couple of months, you get into a rhythm of talking about certain things and sharing certain things, getting to know a little bit, surface level stuff about each other, about our children, as they grew up, what are they doing next? Where are they, where are they working? Where are they going to school? And we had an investment in each other because we had spent this social time with each other over the years. But I will tell you, after about 5 years, I didn't look forward to it anymore. And not because of the women that I knew in the group, but because the dynamic of the group changed. And then one day, the group kind of imploded, and some of the women never came back, and it was over a political issue. And this is decades ago. Okay, this is 15, 16, 17, 18 years ago. So this is not current politics. But people's true colors came out. We had always kept the conversation pretty surface. And so I had to find a way to step back, to say that, you know what, I had too much else on my plate, and this wasn't something that I had the time for, or quite frankly, the energy for anymore. But there were women in the group who I wanted to remain connected to. And ironically, they were all part of the original group. When group dynamics change, it's okay for us to say, you know what, this isn't the same group that I joined, and I want to move on. So fast forward, 6, 7 months ago, I get a phone call on a Sunday. I recognize the name of this gal. I'd never talked to her on the phone before. And she was very upset. And she had heard me speak the week before, 2 weeks before. And I talk about Mean Girls. I talk about the difficult relationships between women. And she said, I have had something heavy on my heart since I heard you speak. Now, this is a woman who was extremely involved with the community. I don't travel in the same circles as her, but I knew her and knew of her because of her volunteerism in the community, her company's giving heart, and just their great reputation and her great reputation. She was a woman, she is a woman full of high energy. And she'd been very active in a social group and had risen to the top in leadership. But as she rolled off of her position of leadership and new people came in, the new women, made it clear that there was no room at the table for her. And she was trying to come to terms with being pushed out of an organization that she had invested. I mean, you volunteered thousands of hours of giving and all the extra time and the extra energy that goes into building something and giving to something that you feel strongly about. And so we had this conversation about how do you step back from a group when everyone's going to notice that you have stepped back, and how do you do it and still maintain friendships and not cause drama for yourself, for the people in the group? How do you leave in a way that people aren't gossiping about you when you're not around? Because sometimes we just can't take it anymore and we have to find something else to do. So I'm going to start by telling you, don't ever just walk away. Now, you are going to walk away, but give yourself 24 to 48 hours before you make a decision, especially if something's happened that was the straw that broke the camel's back. For most women, we make decisions over time, but then something happens and we are like, that's it, I'm done, I'm out of here. That's when you need to stop and take that 24 hours, 48 hours. If you have someone in your life who's not involved in the situation, who you can talk to, maybe a spouse, maybe an adult child, maybe some other friend, just have them walk you off the edge and let them ask you tough questions about what next. Okay, because you've got to consider the unintended consequences that you may not pay for today, but you may pay for down the street. Because when you, or down the path. Because when you leave a group, you impact even the people that you liked in the group, especially if you leave without any kind of an explanation. This is a time when I say it's okay to fib. Find something else to do in that time slot. And if you can't find something else to do, then fib. Come up with something, family issue, parent issue, child issue, church, find something else to do. Find an organization you've always wanted to volunteer for and sign up for every week at that time or once a month at that time. And what that will do, two things. Number one, you are legitimately doing something else. Number two, do something that makes you feel good about yourself. You're still getting out of the house, you're doing something else, and so you're not sitting at home thinking about, did I make a mistake? Should I go back? Now, I'd also say you always want to leave the door open because the dynamics of the group may change again. As I've left elected office and have stood back and watched the changes even in my own community, it's always interesting to watch the pendulum. The pendulum swings from one direction to another, and with that, the players change. It's kind of like a bowling ball, right? It comes through and it starts knocking pins down, and eventually all the old pins are gone. And sometimes it takes a couple years. But we have the time to wait, especially if it was something that we enjoyed. But don't leave a group without a plan. Make sure that you have something else that you want to do, something that fills you up. Be around other people and other things, learning new things, trying new things. And again, this could be a card club, it could be a brunch club, a lunch club. It may just be a small neighborhood that you live in and someone new moved in and caused a lot of problem, a lot of strife, and you just don't want to be in the mix anymore. There's a great way to continue to contribute without actually being in the day-to-day mess of it. But you have to be careful that you leave letting people know that something else has come up, something you've been wanting to do, an opportunity has opened up, you have the chance to sign up for a class. Take that painting class you've never taken before. Take that pottery class. Join that new book club. Replace one with the other, and yes, use the new group as an excuse to leave the old group, but leave with class. Let them know how much you believed in the organization. And maybe the people have changed and maybe you don't like the people anymore, or maybe it's just 2 or 3 of the people that you don't want to be around anymore. But you loved spending the time playing cards. You loved spending the time having brunch. You enjoyed trying new restaurants, reading new books and talking about them. that doesn't change. You were doing what you enjoyed. But the group dynamic changed, and you have to stand up for yourself. Like I said earlier, I don't know about you, but I'm just past the age where I am willing to be around people who make me feel incredibly uncomfortable. Whether I don't like what they say, whether I don't like how they treat other people, whether I don't like how they interact with me. Maybe they don't bring out the best in me, and it's my fault. But at the end of the day, we can't choose chaos because we're afraid of change. If you need to leave a group because it bugs you for and we all know what it's like. You get in the car, you're exhausted, you want to get home, and for the next 2 or 3 days, you're vacuuming the floor and you're thinking about, oh, I can't believe she said that, and now she's great friends with so-and-so all of a sudden, and I'm not included, and all that stuff that goes through our head. That's not a group that we need to give our time or our treasure to. So think about the unintended consequences. Think long term. Think about the people that you want to salvage relationships with in a different area. Someone may form a new group down the road. And some of those people, you can reach out to them, the ones that you enjoyed, and say, hey, come on over here. They're starting a new group. My schedule's opened up again. I'm going to join in. They may not be able to join in right away, but maybe eventually they will. When I left my Bunko group, it was really in large part because my schedule, I just couldn't handle it anymore. And the group dynamic had changed. And again, it can be lovely women, lovely people in the group. Sometimes it just comes down to how we interact with each other. And not everybody is your friend or going to be your friend. Not everybody is even going to be someone you consider a friendly acquaintance. And if 1 or 2 of those people come into the group, yeah, you get to step back and say, this isn't what it used to be for me. Now, that was many years ago for me. And the gal that I spoke to on the phone, she has since moved on and is very involved in a new community activity, having a great time of it, just giving her all like she always does. Because this is about us and making ourselves happy and finding the things that fill us up. And it may be scary to leave what you are not comfortable in, but kind of complacent. Oh, well, I did want to see so-and-so and so-and-so. It's up to you. It's your decision. Well, thanks for the great question. It came from you guys, and I'd love to hear from you. How have you left a group successfully, without drama, without backstabbing, without a lot of regret, and maintain some of the women that you wanted to maintain friendships with, even though you moved on to other things? Well, take care, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care. Have a great, great week. Bye-bye.